You're tuned into Relearning Yesterday, the podcast with me, Ngoda Leader, where I get to share with you how what I have learned in life so far has given me better understanding of my past. It's rewind time. Stick around. You may find yourself relating to a lot more than you expect. It's rewind time, people. Thanks for tuning in and welcome. For this episode, I want to talk about the adult dream I had versus the reality I walked into. We call it adulting. It doesn't exist in the dictionary, but it has become a very popular phrase we use over the internet, over social media. When I was a child, I didn't enjoy being told what to do. I've always been this person who doesn't enjoy rules. I don't enjoy rules. I don't enjoy people telling me what to do and what not to do. So I knew once I became an adult, I was going to finally be able to make my own rules, have the freedom to do things the way I wanted to, not be told what to do, not be told when to wake up, when to go to sleep. I was really looking forward to all of this. So I really wanted to become an adult. I also wanted to be able to make my own money and just live this beautiful life I had in my head. I knew I was going to get a job, a beautiful job, dress nice, my own office, have my own house, have my own cars. Cars plural, by the way. Have a wardrobe full of designer clothes and bags and shoes. I envied the adults whom I saw living this life, though a lot of them were in the movies, but still there were a few who were living it in reality around me. And I was like, this is what I want. And society had made us to believe that you could only get to this place if you study hard, go to school, and get a job. So I was like, okay, if this is what it's going to take to become this person, then I am going to do what I have to do and get to this point so that I could start living my own life, making my own rules, being my own person. I finally grew up, became an adult, graduated, and the world I walked into was nothing like what I dreamed about. I didn't see any of the things I had hoped to see when I got to that point. Getting to that point where you graduate and have a degree is actually the beginning of what they call real life. That is when everything starts happening. That's when you start seeing the world for what it is. I was unprepared, but when I look back at that CV I had after school, I actually laugh and I also have a few tears. Like, who was I expecting to hire me and give me a job with that kind of CV? Those were all things that we didn't know about. We didn't have any kind of career orientation. We didn't have, the perfect picture of what the world we were walking into looked like. We were not cursed, unlucky, or any of that. We just were not prepared for the real world. It doesn't happen just here. It happens everywhere. That's what I came to know. You have to be prepared. If you're not prepared, you're going to feel like you're unlucky, you're not blessed, you're just being unfortunate, you just have bad luck and people don't like you or you don't have connections and all of that. But in reality, we were not just prepared for the job market. We didn't have a problem-solving mindset because nobody taught us that we needed to have a problem-solving mindset. We felt entitled. We felt like, okay, because we have a degree, then we are entitled to a job. That was what gave us the guts to walk into banks with those empty CVs which had just our names, ordinary level, advanced level, and bachelor, expecting to be given a paid job. If I had to redo it, if I had to rewind, I would know that after school, you need about 3 years or even more to do voluntary service, learn what problems are existing in the world, see from what angle you could solve some of the problems, have a skillful mindset, study the job market and see what employers are looking for, build the skills which employers need. Not just walk into the world with an empty CV expecting to be hired. I remember being fortunate because I think just a few months after school, that's after being rejected by so many banks, by the way, which I thought I was entitled to them hiring me. I was fortunate, my younger sister and myself, to have like a paid job. Yes, we did have that thanks to my late mom. When we had that job, my mom was like, you guys come live with me so that you can be able to save money and not have to pay rent and all of that. Like, are you serious? I'm finally here to live the dream I've always had as a child, which is finish school, get a job, and live under my own roof. And you're here telling me to live under your roof, follow your rules, and do that you want me to do. Thank you, but no thanks. So my younger sister and I went ahead and got our own place, and we actually took a loan for that, by the way. What we knew was, okay, once you get a job, you work, you're going to be able to earn salary. The fortunate thing about us getting this job was we didn't know much. I actually had to learn how to use Microsoft Word on that job. So it did teach me a lot of things, but that was not my concern. All I wanted to do was see the money come in. I was working, so I was expecting a salary. I was not seeing how the job was helping me to grow and have a skill. No, that was not my business. I just wanted to be paid. So first 4 months, I think, the salaries came. We were living this, la vida loca, like the dreams were coming true according to us. But one part that was unexpected was that we didn't realize that having a job meant not having the life that we once had, which is you have to wake up and be ready for work by 8, be back by 7 p.m., tired, and all you want to do is sleep. But there is no time to even live that life of going out and coming in whenever you want, or hanging out with friends, or doing all the stupid stuff that we thought we would have the freedom to do. Yeah, that part. And anyway, let me get back to the reality that hit us on this first job experience. About 3 months after successful untimely payments, we began having delays, like our salaries were being delayed. And my mom told us that this is a very normal thing. They experience it all the time at their workplace. We've heard her complain over and over about this. But I'm like, this is a new company. Why are they already, having this kind of attitude towards paying us after we've worked so hard? About 3 more months, no salary. The 4th month, we could not even afford to pay transportation to go to work, and we could not even afford to feed ourselves. So we had to run back to mommy and start begging her for rice, vegetable oil. Mommy, did you cook? Please, can we drop by and eat? Can we come by and take some soup? Can we come by and take this? This is not what we ordered. This is not the life that we were hoping to have. At least you're supposed to work for like 2 years, 3 years before you start seeing all of this happen. But it was happening to us. And one day we went to work and the doors were closed. We were informed that the company had shut down because the CEO had some legal troubles which he could not get out of at the moment, and that's how that company closed. So we were now jobless again. Thankfully, we had paid our rent 1 year, so we had some time before we needed to renew or get kicked out. So my younger sister was like, you know what? I'm going back home. I can't do this. I can't wake up in the morning and have to struggle to eat. We don't have food. We don't have anything. The cupboards are all dry. We can't even meet up with the bills. We can't pay our water bill on time. We can't pay our electricity bills. And I was like, okay, you go home. I'm not going back home. I'm not going to go back to being under any person's rules, lose this freedom of adulthood which I have had. But you know what? After about 2 months of toughing it out, I packed my bags and went home because I just could not do it anymore. Everything became too real for me to handle. So I had to go back home and re-strategize. I did. And that was how I started building this hustler mentality. I came to realize to make it in this world, you need to be able to go out there and see what people need, give it to them, and be paid. I figured that out quite early. Though I had that mindset, the opportunities were not that many in front of me. So I had to try different things, put my hands in different things, try this one, try this one, try this one. And it really didn't work out that well in the early stages. At this point, if you're not very strong in faith and understand that this is how the real world works, you really will believe any prophet or pastor who tells you you're under a curse, honestly. So the difficulty of getting that financial freedom, that reality, it hit too hard. When I started making money, I came to realize that I was working for my landlord and bills. Yeah, I was seeing the money, but it was not my money. I had to use that money to pay bills. Never ending bills. Like every time I got hold of money, I had to start thinking about my landlord. I had to start thinking about water bill. You need water, so you have to pay your bill. If not, you will not have access to water. You need electricity. If you don't pay your bills, you will not have the electricity. You need a roof over your head. If you don't pay for the roof over your head, then you have no roof over your head and you can't stay out in the streets. So when you work hard and even make the small money, you're thinking about all the basic necessities which you have to, take care of. And when you're done taking care of them, you're left with just like very, very little. That was what happened to me most times. And I was like, God, I did all of that work, went out, worked hard, even had to work late into the night. And this is all what I have for myself. I can't even buy a shoe, a bag, or an outfit with what I have left because I have to think about food. My childhood dreams of adulthood were crashing. It crashed in that area too. One more thing I came to experience in this adulthood thing, which I was not looking forward to, is how lonely adulting is. You are figuring out life, dealing with challenges, disappointments, frustrations. And I was going through all of this. I really don't like putting my stress on anybody. So when I'm going through things, I just want to be in my own space, figure it out, and see what I can do about it. I don't like running to my mom because I always feel like she's done enough. I don't like going to aunties and uncles. Everybody has their own problems. I may not talk about it, but yeah, it's just my personal choice to not go and talk about it with anybody. I don't talk about it with friends. I figure it out on my own. And in those times when I'm figuring out, I don't need anybody bugging me. So you could call me and I will just not answer. You could send me messages and I'll take forever to answer back because I'm in a place where I'm trying to figure out stuff for myself. And when I do this, I'm pushing people away. And there are consequences to this because at some point they stop coming around. They stop calling you. They stop checking up on you. They stop trying to be in your life because you're giving them too much distance, or you're giving people too much distance. At some point, they finally get it that no, this person wants to be alone. Let's just leave this person alone. You want to be lonely by choice, and then at some point you start feeling lonely. You cut off people and then you start feeling lonely. There was this time I stayed in my house for like 2 days and I didn't have anybody check up on me. My phone didn't ring once. And I was like, God, what is this? Like, I could have died and nobody would even know that I died. I'll probably have been like one of these people whom they come and discover 2 days after, oh, she died in her room and she was discovered 2 days later. I'm like, how on earth do I become this kind of person? I used to be a lovable person, a sociable person. How do I become this kind of person who doesn't have anybody coming around them? It really was a wake-up call for me, but I couldn't do anything with a wake-up call because the challenges were still there. The things I was facing were still there, and I was not ready to start dumping it on anybody or stressing anybody at all. In fact, I was not ready to start making it anybody's business. It was my business and I knew that I was going to get out of it. So yes, though it was a wake-up call, it really didn't wake me up. I continued living the same life. I have one of my aunts when I was in university. She and I were close. I would go to her house and would hang out. When I go back to school, she would give me some allowance and everything was good. And then after some time, she just stopped picking up her phone. I would call and she would never answer. So I was like, you know what? Maybe she feels like I'm calling her because I need money. I'll send her a message and be like, Auntie, I just want to come and check on you. No reply. Wow. I went home for holidays. I went to see my grandmother and she complained to me that my auntie really doesn't call that much, and even when she calls, my auntie hardly answers. I was like, she's doing it to you too? You're her mother. My uncle said the same thing. Like your auntie never answers her phone. She can only call you, and when you call, she never answers. My mom had the same story, and I was like, wow, has she become these aunties we see in Nigerian movies who, when they become rich, they just forget family totally? And then fast forward to me becoming an adult, I found myself doing the exact same thing, and I was like, who was I to judge? But I was judging because I was ignorant. I didn't know that this is what life had in store. I didn't know that this is what she was going through. I didn't see it from this angle because I wasn't expecting that this angle exists. In my dream of adulthood, I didn't have this. So I could never have imagined what she was going through. But when I became an adult, I started experiencing life, challenges, disappointments, frustrations, and I saw myself doing the exact same thing, not picking up my calls as I should, not calling people as I should. Sometimes my mom would call and I would use about 2 days to reciprocate that call I missed from her. And there are consequences to this loneliness that you create for yourself, this world you create for yourself, this lonely world you create for yourself. You miss out on people's lives, the people who love you. You miss out on their lives. What if you get a call that this person who was trying to call you is no more? You know, these people are trying to be there for you and you're pushing them away. If we feel like we have all the time in the world, but we don't. I always think about my grandmom and all the times I didn't go spend time with her because I was chasing dreams and going after life. I wish more than anything that I could just turn back the hands of time and talk to her all the time she was calling me, go see her all the time she wanted me to come see her and I couldn't. But you can never take back time. You could never have back the time. So there are consequences. And these are all things that come with the craziness of adulthood. This is not what I was looking forward to. This reality I'm experiencing, I wasn't looking forward to it. It's just so hard. It's not like you intentionally don't want to talk to these people, don't want to be there for them. You are dealing with your own problems. And then, I don't know. There's no way to even like draw a line or make them meet. It's just too much. One more thing about the reality of adulthood for me is how I always told myself I'll be this by this age, I'll be done with this, I'll be living this life at this age, I'll be doing this at this age. I remember one time when I was still working at the radio, I was having a chat with my boss and I was like, you know what, when I'm 30, I'm going to have my own car. I think I was 27 at the time. Or 26 or 27. I was like, in 3 years' time, if I continue working hard like this, why won't I have a car? I threw it to him that by the time I'm 30, I should be having my own car. I will have my own car. I remember him laughing so hard. He laughed so hard. He held his head and looked at me. I was like, Dalida, you? What do you mean? I can't have a car by the time I'm 30? You see how hard I work? I work very hard. I'm smart. Why are you laughing at my goal? And he didn't even say anything. He didn't say it was not going to happen, but the way he laughed was enough for me to know that, wow. So I took that as a challenge. I was like, you know what? Since he thinks it's impossible, I'm going to make it possible. I tried, but I couldn't. Yeah, you work hard, you have the money, but bills will swallow up all that thing. All that cash goes into bills, goes into looking good. When we're younger, my friends and I, we thought we were going to be friends for life, like right to the end, right or die. And then we grew up, became adults, realized we wanted different things. This person wanted to marry and start making babies. This person just wanted to travel abroad. Because of the goals and dreams that we have, we start drifting apart. And before you know it, everybody is in their own corner. You start making new friends who are more in line with what you want and what you're going after, because you're going after them together. So these people become part of your world. It's easier to talk to them. It's easier to share goals with them. And then those childhood friends are just, everybody is in their own corner, dealing with whatever challenges they are facing, going after the dreams that they're going after. I don't really enjoy it. What a nightmare. An unexpected adventure is what I call this adulthood. This one is an unexpected adventure because I didn't see any of this coming. I didn't think that I was going to lose all of this. Adulthood that I was rushing into, that I couldn't wait to get into, was going to come with so many realities I wasn't ready to handle. It's just a lot. One more thing about adulthood or adulting is how, when you're young, you want to have so much fun. You and your friends want to party. That was my reality anyway. That was me. My friends and I, we wanted to party like there was no tomorrow. We wanted to go out and have fun. We wanted to hang out all the time, but we could not because our parents didn't let us do that. We only used to sneak out once in a while, and when we got caught, man, the consequences were serious. Like you have beatings, you have been suspended from a lot of things, and yeah, there were consequences to actually sneaking out. Now I became an adult, and all I want to do is stay at home when I can. If I'm not working, I want to be at home. I want to sleep. I want to watch movies. I want to relax. When I was still dependent on my mom and needed her for every financial aspect of my life, that's when we were in school. Sometimes I'll call my mom and be like, I need money for this. And the way she would talk back at me, God, I'll just be like, you know what? I really wish I didn't have to ask you. Like, hello, I need this money for school. You sent me to school, and I'm now asking you for something which they need us to have in school, and you're having this attitude on me. You're being irritated. So I thought that was a very bad behavior coming from her until I became an adult and I had younger ones. When they come and ask me for money, some days I'm fine. Like I'm expecting it. But sometimes when I'm just having like a stressful moment or a challenging day and they bring that to my table, God, the way I respond, I'm so irritated. Sometimes I'm like, you know what? Go get a job. Whenever it happens, I'm like, oh my God. It will just take me back to the moments when I'll call my mom to ask her for something I needed in school and she'll scream at me. Another thing I couldn't wait to be an adult about was chores. When you're a child, you do chores. You must do chores in the house. I remember being in charge of washing pots. You're not an adult, they'll still have to make you run errands, go to the market, even when you don't want to. The sun is out there, and your mom will just be like, go to the market and buy Gary, go to the market and buy this, go to the market and buy that. So I just like, you know what, one day I'm going to be an adult, and I'll see who you send. By then, I'll be in my own house, taking care of my own things. So I was running away from chores to become an adult, became an adult, was living in my own house, and I found myself doing all the chores by myself. It was even better in my mom's house because we shared the chores. We were many. In my own house, I had to do all the chores by myself. I had to wash plates. I had to wash pots. I had to dry clean. I had to dust. I had to wash. In fact, all the chores became my responsibility. Why didn't I think about this? Why didn't I know this was going to happen when I became an adult? Why was I not, looking forward to this reality? I didn't think about it for a moment that when I became an adult, it would also mean doing all these chores. Anyway, now I have my younger ones to do it, but when I was living on my own, I had to do it all by myself, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all, honestly. Another aspect or becoming an adult is how much I got to dread birthdays. I've never really been a birthday person because of how my parents celebrated my birthday when I was growing up. My birthday is very close to my elder brother's birthday, so they made me wait about 2 weeks before being celebrated. I had to be celebrated on the same day as my elder brother, so birthdays was not really my thing. I wasn't really excited about birthdays, but I was excited about getting old. I wanted to get old so that I will be a grown-up and do things like grown-ups. Be a grown-up and act like a grown-up, I wanted to do things grown-ups were doing. So I was looking forward to it. Whenever my birthday was coming, I was like, oh, I'm going to be a year older. Wow, very soon I'll be an adult and just have all the things that I'm dreaming about. And now that I am an adult, if I had my way, I could hold the calendar and be like, you know what? You need to stop moving, okay? I am not ready to get to this age because I was hoping that by the time I get to this age, I will have these things. I don't have them yet. So you need to stop moving so I could get my shit together, and then we could start moving to just give me some time. I don't want to get old. I want to have this by the time I'm this age. I don't want to get old. Not that I deters being old, but there are things I wish to achieve at a particular age, and if this calendar just keeps moving the way it moves, adds to my stress because give me a break. Calendar, give me a break, but it's not listening. So yeah, that's another aspect I have to deal with, accept in this adulthood journey or adventure. Then there is the aspect of worrying about your look. That is one thing adulthood brings to your table. You want to stay youthful, but reality is you can't. You have to worry about gaining weight. When I was a lot younger, I had one rubbing oil from my face to my toes. The only other thing we needed was hair oil. And then I became an adult, and now I need a separate bottle for my face, a separate bottle for my body. I need moisturizer, I need this, I need that, I need glycerin. Just cosmetics alone. It's coming with a lot of financial responsibility. Just taking care of yourself comes too much financial responsibility, which I wasn't looking forward to. I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up for a lot of things I've already talked about so far, but they are happening and I have to deal with it. I have to accept it. But if I knew all these things before, I would have been better prepared. That's the thing about all of this. I was not prepared. Nobody prepared us for this. They made us believe in the dreamland we were living in. In all of this, what I would say is I would have preferred to be given a heads up. I would have preferred to know that the real world isn't, as easy as we were made to think. Society told us you just have to go to school, get a job, and then bam, you start making money, which is not true. They didn't prepare us for all the difficulties we were walking into. They didn't prepare us for the real world. The real world is where all these things happen. You can't run away from them. They will happen. And the only way of overcoming it is to be prepared, is to work extremely hard, is to accept the things you can't change, is to, be more pushful and have faith, believe in yourself, have some kind of confidence and all of that to be able to handle adulthood. These are all tools that we needed to have, because the reality is these things that I have listed here are real life things. It's the reality of life. It's the reality of life. It happens everywhere. The only thing is we were not prepared. We are not prepared. We are not given the tools to face life for what it is. We are not even made aware of what we are walking into. So we walk into it blindly, and when we don't see what we're expecting, we start feeling like we're under some kind of curse, or we have bad luck, or life isn't fair to us. We start looking for too many things to blame for the things we are seeing, which are normal in the real world. It is normal phases of adulthood. Because we are not prepared for it, we see it as some kind of abnormal thing, and pastor will just come and tell you, yeah, you are under this curse, so you need to do this to be able to get out of the curse, and then you fall for it. What do you expect when you don't have the right job orientation? You're going to look for a job for a longer period of time, and you don't have the tools, you don't have what employers need. So yeah, if you are a young person and you listen to this, my dear, you're welcome. Like, I just remember my younger sister the other day was telling me, Dal, I really just want to get my own place after graduation and start living on my own. And I was like, okay, don't be in a haste. All these things, you're going to live on your own. You're going to, have that. Don't hurry. Don't stress. It's going to happen. Let me warn you, it's not as rosy as you think. I gave her a little insight into what the real world of adulting and living on your own is like. And by the time we're done talking, she was smiling back at me and was like, you know what? I would just be working and saving my money. And I was like, good one. Because if we had been prepared, if we knew what we were walking into, when my mom offered us a living space, we would have taken it. Even though it's okay to face challenges because somehow they make you strong. But I have to stop talking now. Like I always tell you, if you listen to the podcast and you feel like you relate and want to share some thoughts with me, please feel free to do so. You can drop a comment on either Facebook or right here on the podcast. There's the comment section which you could comment. If you can't find it, you could send me a message on Facebook. My name on Facebook is Ngodalida. On Instagram is Miss Ngodal. And if you're listening to it from the radio, please do send me a message to the numbers of the radio house. I will be very happy to read from you. Until next time, have a good one.